What is up, everybody? I am Amongst the Whiskey, and I am coming to you today with a fresh crack first impression video for the 2024 release of Michter's 10-Year Rye. Let's get into it. From the back of the bottle, Michter's offers the following statement. We are proud to offer you our rare 10-year-old single-barrel straight rye whiskey. In the Michter's tradition, hailing from one of America's first distillers, this whiskey is made from highest quality American rye and aged for 10 years in a hand-selected charred white oak barrel until it meets our exceptional quality standards. It is then further mellowed by our signature filtration. I've seen that filtration up close and personal at this Shively distillery. It is a very scientific, very cool process. One of their scientists, Catherine Onan, actually showed me the stack of filters that they use. It's this complex array of a whole bunch of different parameters that their scientists get to tweak and optimize to really deliver the highest quality whiskey that they are capable of making. One thing that always lands high on my list, the 10-year rise. Consider for a second that the 2023 release was my number one rye whiskey in the top ryes to drink right now article that I published just last month. So will 2024 manage to outdo 2023? That's yet to be seen. We're going to have to taste it to find out. Since this is a single barrel style release, I will tell you the barrel number that is on the neck of this one. These are hard to read. I'm going to just tell you right now. Maybe I'm just getting old. This one is 24D1810. 24D. There was a whole debacle on the Michter's 10 bourbons from 2023. Everybody wanted the 23A barrels. And I have to say I agree. I did the side-by-side of 23A versus 23E, and I much preferred 23A as well. So because this is a single barrel release, your mileage may vary. Your experience might be a little bit different from mine, but in my experience across the board, Michter's knows good quality. They're striving for excellence with this release. And what is oft rumored and almost never confirmed, what normally happens with these 10-year releases is the whiskey tends to be sometimes a little bit older. I'm kind of hoping that's the case with this one. Let's crack it open and find out. I love the pull tabs on Michter's bottles. They have just crispy clean wax pulling. The tab pulls effortlessly. These are just a dream to open as compared to some of your other bottles that exhibit wax. Off we go. So in general, I am a huge fan of Michter's to begin with. That doesn't mean I generally give anybody a pass or assume quality in any of my reviews. You really have to earn it with me. So without further ado, let's get on to a sniff and a taste of Michter's 10-Year Rye, the 2024 release. Okay, right up front, this is a bright rye. What I mean by bright is the oak characteristic is not this molassesy, dark, brooding, low tone. It's very what I would call sunshiny. It gives the feeling in the nose as if you've just walked out into bright daylight and you might sneeze. There's a linen characteristic that gives it that fluffy, very comfortable feeling in the nose. It's very vanilla forward, very toffee forward. I really like that it's leading with these very subtle, very approachable, very quiet, very easy to experience notes. If you were to ask me a recommendation from somebody who doesn't drink rye, how do I make sure that this person is going to like rye? I'm going to hand you a pour of Michter's 10-Year Rye. This is, from the get-go, the nose just tells me that this is a bourbon drinker's rye, for sure. Okay, a couple more inhales here. It is so light, so ephemeral. I'm really thinking this might improve from a taste, so I'm going to do just that. Let's go. Okay. Wow. For one, this reminds me of the 2023 10-year bourbon. It has this dusty characteristic to it that reminds me of, dare I say, pre-Fire Heaven Hill. Up front, it's butterscotch forward. It lands very gracefully on the tongue, very soft, very creamy. So those butterscotch tones, those vanilla tones, maybe a little creme fraiche, marshmallow. I like this a lot from the get-go. But if you're expecting this to be a powerhouse of flavor or a big wave of proof, if you're a regular drinker and you're expecting this to be your Stag Junior, knock your socks off with flavor, this is just not going to be it. This is a pour that, to me, drinks like whiskeys of old. On to another taste. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's some good, almost old school national distillers kind of flavors going on here. I also get some 1940s James E. Pepper rye. I mean, this is old school, creamy, very approachable rye. It's not your ultra flavorful, old pre-prohibition Monongahela rye. It's not your spice forward, say, Maryland rye. And it's also not really your kind of funky New York rye either. To me, this is Kentucky rye, but old school Kentucky rye. Bravo, Michters. Bravo. Yeah, that is very good. It is definitely not knock your socks off good. I'm not getting that instant classic, that this is wow-worthy whiskey like I do with the 2023 release. So just a step back, I think, in the quality department as compared to the 2023 release that earned, as I said before, my top spot in my top 24 rye list. Does that mean another 2024 single barrel of Michter's 10-year rye can't be that top spot, that pinnacle whiskey? No. Because it's a single barrel product, your mileage may vary. I do think in general, year to year, Michter's is very consistent with the flavor profile that they shoot for on these releases. So you can trust that their palates are good. But year to year, bottle to bottle, barrel to barrel, there are subtle nuances with these. And that's just the fickle nature of whiskey. It's always going to have this subtle nuance, even from a distillery that you already know and love. If they're making good whiskey, flavorful whiskey with good equipment, good cooperage, you're going to have some waver. You're going to have some undulations in quality. That is to be expected. What amazes me about Michter's is just how consistently high their average is. So yeah, they may bounce down 1 or 2 points on my rating scale, release to release, but their batting average, it's probably north of a 4 out of 5, which to me is that enthusiast grade pour. And that is just incredible. Okay, jumping back into the post-sip nose to see how things have evolved in this glass. Oh yeah, okay, still very creamy here, very marshmallow, very vanilla. Now it's almost leaning in more on like a chantilly cream. In general, I'm very pleased with the nose. I think the nose probably outpaces the palate by a little bit. I mean, yeah, just rounding out this experience, you're starting to get some of those leather characteristics that happen at these hyper-age statements. So to me, this does nose a little bit north of that 10-year age statement. Closer to 13, 14 probably, if you asked me. But let's give it one final taste. And I won't offer a rating out of my 5-point scale. Because this is my first taste, I like to have 3 tastings under my belt before I put any numerical grading on a pour that I am reviewing. So I will wrap this up with a thumbs up, thumbs down, or thumbs in the middle. And you can interpret what that means for yourself. Based on my notes. I think my notes are helpful too. Let me know down in the comments. Do you think tasting notes help you make good whiskey buying decisions? I want to hear. Let me know. More sips. Ooh. This is one of those whiskeys that gets better as you sip through it a few times. It takes a little bit to amplify some of those more subtle tones that need to crawl their way across your tongue and really get ingrained in the full tasting experience. What I will say has built here is more of that butterscotch tone, more caramel. This is certainly a bourbon drinker's rye. I mean, there is no question about that. This drink's very much like a barely legal rye, a 51% rye mash bill to me. It very much leans in on the barrel influence, and I don't really get a ton of kind of those yeast and cooperage interactions. I don't think anything really groundbreaking has been done here in that department. So to me, this drink's like a cleaner, crisper, lighter, more sweet, creamy 10-year rye as compared to perhaps the 10-year Parker's Heritage rye that came out last year. I think if you put these side by side, they would be completely different whiskeys. They're at completely different proofs, and I don't know if I could really tell you which one I would prefer. I think both probably have their time and place, which is true for most whiskeys. That's why you should never really write off a whiskey at one tasting. You should really strive to taste something 2 or 3 times before you decide if you like it or not. There are a lot of factors that go into how you taste whiskey, your experience that you have with it. So the more shots on goal you can get, the more experience you can get with a bottle before you really lock in your thoughts for good. Before you start talking to your friends about how you feel about it, you should really have a few experiences with a bottle under your belt, because there are just too many parameters, too many things that can go wrong that will alter your experience with how you taste whiskey. So take it from the pro, taste 3 times before you offer your thoughts. And now I'm going to offer my final thoughts on Michter's 10-year rye. Okay, this glass finishes just the way that it started. Very vintage style. I get those dusty characteristics. I'm finding that this could be a old school, hidden, leftover gem from National Distillers that Michter's, no, they definitely did not probably source this from National Distillers. National Distillers is a long dead brand in distillery, so I highly doubt that that's the case, but I can still offer my adoration for this bottle because of the parallels that I'm tasting in the flavor profile here. So a rating for 2024 Michter's 10-year rye. I'm going to give it a thumbs up for sure. This is good whiskey. So good, I think I'm going to have a second glass tonight because why not? I got a whole bottle here. But that's going to do it for me in front of the camera tonight. If you want to read some more, make sure you check out some articles at amongstthewhiskey.com. You will not be disappointed. And until then, my friends, keep it amongst the whiskey.